What is up, guys? Your boy Raven here today, and welcome to my Warhammer Warcry starter set and Warcry in general review. For those who don't know what Warcry is, literally Warcry is the brand new scrimmage game in the realm of Age of Sigmar, right? The miniature wargaming game. And Warcry, it has a starter set, and starter set, as you saw on this channel, I've opened right in front of you guys. So we've got, two warbands, and warbands are those small, you can't call them armies, but they kind of are those small from 8 to 9 figurines, right? Armies that battle against each other in that game. So first things first, what I want to say is we're going to start with the bad things, right? We're going to start with bad things, and then we're going to go to good things. First things first, the first problem that I found even before purchasing Warcry was actually how you should glue together and put together the terrains, right? Because again, those are the terrains. This one is painted actually by my fiance right now. So those are the terrains. For example, those are the example terrains over here. Of course, hand painted, because we haven't painted a lot of it yet. So normally you put those terrains together so you can play. They're of course all gray, as you can, and then you paint them, of course, slowly later. But so they come in parts, right? You can see they are coming in parts. There's glue here, right? So they come in pieces. And you have to glue them separately, right? Each piece separately. But the instruction is so bad that it literally doesn't show you exactly what you should glue together or not. It's really hard to see. Well, like for example, like this piece over here was not seen in the instruction. Which piece is which. Like, it's really tough. But what I was angry the most about, and I know in the other Warhammer Warcry terrain it also happens, not in the mausoleum though, in the other one I don't remember the name of, that looks like the Sphinx. I think that's some kind of a tomb, whatever. So they tell you to glue steps. For example, they will tell you to glue steps right over here, and they will tell you to glue there's this one statue that is destroyed, that's a head of Sigmar, and they tell you to glue on top of the head of Sigmar this little piece that resembles like a watchtower of some sort, right? Like a small watchtower in the realm. But if you do that, even though like the instructions clearly says glue, right? But if you do that, you can't play half of the scenarios. Literally half of the scenarios can't be played, because the thing is that in half of the scenarios, for example, this statue has to be without it, or the steps are the moving part. So one you're going to put on the watchtower, one you're going to put on the bell, one even putting right over here sometimes. So you can't glue the steps by any means. The same goes to this like wooden platforms. Like you've got one piece here, one piece here. You've got this wooden platforms in between. You can't glue that as well. So that definitely pissed me off a little bit, because if I know, like in my local game store, they've had the piece be like a few days before they've opened it, so people can see it, play it. And one of the people that works in the store, my good old friend, really and a really good friend that only plays Age of Sigmar, looked at the instruction and glued those stuff. And after that, like day after that, they've realized, oh crap, so in the demonstration we actually can't play a few games or few cards due to that mistake. And again, I was looking at the instructions myself as we were gluing them, and that was just bad. We've watched a lot of videos how to glue them. We found this, like there's one video, if you would go before you start Warcry, or just put Warhammer Warcry, you'll have this like nice video with stop, like there's a guy just talking about it. And also you have a nice Reddit post also about gluing pieces together, because really the terrain is really hard to glue properly, because the pictures are not really good, right? So in the starter set and in this one that looks like ancient tomb, right? With the ancient tomb, what we found out is like there's an let's say that's an entry to the ancient tomb, and there's this like piece that moves like a door. You can't glue it as well because it's gonna, it should go up and down. So few weird stuff. Of course, Mausoleum, because Mausoleum is taken literally from Age of Sigmar and not built specifically for Warcry. You can glue, the way it is in the instruction, because the instruction is good. I think honestly, in terms of Warcry, that is the only complaint. That is the only complaint that I have. So let's now go to the good stuff. The good stuff, figurines. I know it's still not glued. Like I have only like one color on it, like on his ass, literally on his ass cheeks. But the quality of the figurines, as we all know, they are fantastic. You've got 2 warbands. You've got iron golems. There's 8 models of them, and also you've got untamed beast, 9 models. They all come with points, they all come with, with their abilities, and they are fantastic. Then we've got those other beasts that are like imps and raptorics, that's how they are called. Also looking gorgeous. One thing with imps, the legs, again, instructions doesn't tell you exactly how you should glue them. Like there's a lot of room for screwing this up, so be careful there, right? So that is my advice as well. In terms of the terrain, in terms of the other stuff, it's a fantastic system. Games, honestly, we've played with my fiance, because that's how I value the game. We played with my fiance around like 50 Age of Sigmar games in total. I had my Stormcast, he has her Sylvaneth armies, right? So there are huge armies with the Sylvaneth Wildwood, so those are huge battles. So setting it up every single time on the table, and doing the terrains, that took, like 30 minutes usually, right? Then the game would take up to 3 to 4 hours, depending on our pace, our thinking, if we would want to drink a little bit more or not. And not always we have that time, so Warcry is like the perfect game for us as of right now, because we wanted something that is a little bit faster. And here we played right now around 10 games, and almost every single game, like the longest we played was hour and 40 minutes, but that was our, I think, second or third game where we didn't know how to set up the terrain, because you have to learn that stuff, right? Because you draw the card and you look at the at the picture and it goes like, okay, so this goes here. So definitely the first steps are taking a little bit they're taking a little bit of time, but it's not 4 hours, right? So definitely, we even picked one game around midnight, and we just finished at 1 a.m. and it was fun, it was cool, because normally Age of Sigmar like battles, those are huge, and picking up one at midnight will end up like 3 or 2 a.m. So definitely a short time to play, definitely on the plus side. Also, something that I didn't thought it had, because I've heard about narrative campaigns that you can have here, and let me tell you, I'm a sucker for narrative campaigns. Of course, you can have them in Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, you can have them in 40k, true, but you kind of have to figure them out yourself, you do like all the things, the maps. And we have that. We have the map. Literally, we've taken out the map from whatever game that was. And remember, I think Guild Wars Nightfall. I think from that game. And we just point out where the battle is taking place. Why. So we're making up the stories. And here, in the actual core book, there is literally tons and tons of campaigns. I'm gonna show you one. It's called Tide of Fire, and as you can see, wait, let me just, as you can see, like there's a whole map in here, like those dots, that's a map. I'm trying to, there you go, now you can see that's the whole map that you can have. You have those different scenarios over here, what are the outcomes, what is happening, and the whole, like they're like, each class has 4 campaigns. But if you want, you're doing this as a one nice long campaign. So even though there are 4, you can combine them into one long. That will take weeks to complete. you will, you know, take the artifact, and the artifact carries on with that character for the next game or for the, you know, next campaign, whatever, right? You've won something here. And also the cards, even the plot, like I call them plot twists, but even the twist cards on the board, they also have a lore on them. So for me, Warcry is really lore heavy and story driven game, which I do love. And I know sometimes it's really hard. You would say like, oh man, but that's, you know, like one map, one terrain. But with all those cards that, you know, that you draw, or with all those, you know, like different maps that you have in here, like for example, you know, you've got how to set up, you know, the Converge Friends of the Road, and all, you know, all the different scenarios that can happen. The game doesn't feel stale, even though, you know, we're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over to some degree, yeah, right? Because we're playing, you know, the miniature figure game. It doesn't feel this way. Every single game is different. Everything is different. Like one of the more memorable games that we had was the Holy Place. That's how the victory was called. Not a campaign. Like actually, no, you just draw for one game, and attacker chooses one quarter of the map and doesn't tell me, right? Because I was a defender, so the attacker doesn't tell the other person what quarter he chose, and his objective is to not allow, by turn 4, any of my units to be on that quarter, because that's the Holy Place. But I don't know what the Holy Place is, so like I'm trying to, you know, to get all those pieces, to scatter, you know, my units here, all the quarters, you know, to maybe fight in the middle. It's really, really cool, especially with, you know, with like the conditions we had. And for us, the conditions were that all range attacks only hit on 5s and 6, which is really cool. And speaking of attacking, that's also worth noting, you don't have save rolls. You get hit, that's the end of the story. No save rolls, but HP of the characters is a little bit is a lot higher. Like for example, this is the one with the biggest HP in the starter set. Actually, this pretty man with super sexy ass over here. Okay, come on. There we go. No, okay. So he has 30 HP. That is a lot of health points, right? The Lion has around 20. And again, now here's like critical attack is 8, normal attack is 4. So the games are quite fast. You play like 4 to 5 turns, never more. Like if you want, you can play more, sure. But really, I mean, I'm really surprised by that. Again, the money. You get a ton of stuff for the amount of course, the amount of money you have to pay depends on the country you are in. Like I know in UK it's £100, in my country that was around $70. So it's not everywhere the same, right? And I'm talking about the retail in this actual store. So for, like, I'm gonna say from my experience, from that $70, I've received not only a terrain that is worth $70, but 2 warbands that are worth half of the box, right, or even more than that. Core book, all the other things that I would love, like, you know, the core book, that's, you know, like $10 to $15. So that is really nice, you know, all the markers that I need, all the cards or the abilities, on top of the warbands, actually, you know, the imps and the raptorixes. So that's another. It's fantastic. I mean, really, if you were always wanting to get your like second half, or you wanted to play really nice fast games with your friends that don't always know strategies, or they don't want to learn tons of different rules, you know, like hero phase, do you do this in the later phase, you know, like movement, then like if it's too confusing for them, just go with the scrimmage and go with the Warcry, because you go like turn, you move, you attack, it's really nice. And honestly, I know I'm saying all the positive things, but that's how I feel about the game after playing those games. And in terms of also scaling things, because of course there are Warhammer Age of Sigmar armies that you can use in the Warcry, like for example Stormcast Eternals, right, with the Gryph-hounds and a few crossbow guys I don't remember the name of, or the Iron Jaws. The scaling of those is a little bit off, like definitely, you know, the movement of that was not Iron Jaws, don't remember the army. Never. I'm going to remind myself. But movement of one army is a little bit OP, but there's going to be a FAQ to that, you know, when you have to take an artifact and come back. But in terms of the others, they are really really good against each other. There's not like one being the best. Of course, everyone considers Corvus Cabal right now as the best warband, but honestly, with this amount of twists on the board, the tides can turn like that, and that's what I like. And with the narrative campaign, you can actually add some D&D to that, and that's what we kind of started trying to do. And literally, we are adding D&D elements to the Warcry, to the narrative campaign. Of course, you know, that's how it looks like in the back. And for example, you know, you're taking points, right, in a campaign progress. So you start at a certain point and you select, okay, so this and this place, those are places that I want to start on the map, of course, right? Those are my, you know, camps. So that is the, like, you have like 200 points. All right, so you have 200 points. Figure out the army. Move, right? You get more points, you get more armies, while your opponent tries to stop you. Love it. And the fact you can play with 4 people, come on, that's just even better, right? So in terms like 1 to 10, even though like with the terrain it's really annoying, right, I would give this game literally 9.5. Like, I want to give this game 10 out of 10 because really that's something that brought me back to the wargaming, really, because again, like, we played right now, because we kind of got it a little bit stale with you know, Stormcast, Sylvaneth, and like those big armies. So we played like maybe a few times per month for the past, like, you know, 3 to 4 months, and because, you know, we didn't want to like set up at home this whole armies, you know, it takes time. It was just taking a long time, and it was too long sometimes. Of course, you know, we're still gonna go back to the battles that big, but I don't feel like, you know, I don't feel like we're gonna lose our heart towards Warcry due to this fact, right? I mean, I know it's gonna sound cheeky and funny, but with this day and age, you not always have time to, you know, prepare the battlefield for armies of hundreds of miniatures. The same goes to painting. You not always have time to paint all of that or put this together, or, you know, you don't have that much terrain. Here in one box you have everything you need. So 9.5 out of 10. You know, this half of the point I have to take from, you know, for those stupid instructions that I just hate from GW. Like, really, that's the only thing they should really learn to do properly after so many years, because that's really so many years, and they still couldn't figure out the proper way to build or to show how you should glue stuff. So guys, thank you so much for bearing with me during this review. Thank you so much for being here with me, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. That is my second channel. So here you will see me talking about wargaming, right? You know, those Age of Sigmar stuff and Warcry. You're gonna see me talking about comic books, mangas, and also let's play of games I don't play on stream, and I don't play on Pokemon Couple channel, because that's, you know, Pokemon strictly content. So here you will see stuff that I want to play in my spare time, and I know I will start. So hopefully I'm gonna start with, like, you know, Fire Emblem. I would love to come back to that. Dragon Age, would love to go and do some games with that. Maybe, you know, maybe some Splatoon, who knows. Maybe I'm not gonna upload daily here, but I will try to do my best to upload as much as possible. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Raven loves you. Goodbye and good night.